All right, hello everybody. We are back live at MicroStrategy World for the fourth and final session in our HyperIntelligence track. For those of you who have been with us the entire afternoon, I want to thank you so much for your participation, and also those of you that are just joining us for this Hyper.Now session. Welcome, and we hope that this will be that you will enjoy and get a lot out of this next 45 minutes with us. I am joined by my entire panel of experts from our technology and our sales and marketing organizations. And what we're going to do for this next 45 minutes is actually going to be a lot of fun. We're going to take you through a quick review of what you learned in today's session. Most important, we have an announcement for everybody, and that is that everyone that is attending MicroStrategy World, whether you're watching this live or seeing it recorded after the fact, is entitled to a 90-day free trial of HyperIntelligence. And it's the easiest thing in the world. You go out to MicroStrategy.com, click on HyperIntelligence, and you'll see an option there that says Start Free Trial. And as you're watching some of the examples that we'll show you over the next 45 minutes, feel free to slip over there to MicroStrategy.com and start your trial. You're not going to need to enter any payment information. There's no long-term obligation. And at the very moment that you begin the trial, the system will begin creating your HyperIntelligence environment so you can get started. And MicroStrategy will be there with you every step of the way. So we're running live here today. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. And we will go ahead and get started. So let's review. So HyperIntelligence works without any coding or any development to inject insights in the form of HyperIntelligence cards directly into the applications that people use every day, whether that's email or Microsoft Office or Salesforce or Workday or whatever your tool of choice happens to be. And without any coding, without any training, you can inject the insights that come directly from your enterprise data layer to 100% of the organization. And that's what separates it. That's what separates HyperIntelligence from the typical business analytics application, is that it's designed for 100% of the organization. It's designed to really create intelligence everywhere. And once again, it does that by not requiring people to be familiar with the enterprise data layer or even with an analytics tool, but rather by embracing the applications and workflows that people use every single day. As a reminder, there are three main vehicles by which we deliver HyperIntelligence cards. The first is HyperWeb. Right, this is any website or application that is accessible over the internet. The HyperIntelligence plugin works in both Chrome and Microsoft Edge. So every website, every application that people use every day will have access to HyperIntelligence. We also have HyperMobile for iOS and Android, putting the entire enterprise into the palm of your hand, integrated directly with the mobile calendar and Spotlight Search. And we've also got a special plugin for Microsoft Office, in particular Outlook, which, if you're anything like me, is where you're going to be spending most of your time on any given day. We also announced in the session previously, 2021 brings us the HyperIntelligence SDK, which allows any organization to create a HyperIntelligence component of their applications so they can deliver HyperIntelligence to all of their users without requiring those users to download any plugins or engage with any MicroStrategy licenses. Now, here's the fun part, okay? We have just launched HyperIntelligence in MicroStrategy's first software as a service multi-tenant platform. All right, so what that means is that you can go out to MicroStrategy.com right now, click on the HyperIntelligence link, and you'll see an option that says Start Free Trial. What will happen exactly at that point is you will get a MicroStrategy HyperIntelligence environment. You will also get access to MicroStrategy's full library of video tutorials that will take you through every step of the process for deploying HyperIntelligence, from the downloading of MicroStrategy Workstation, the connecting to your data, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, building out of your data sets and constructing your HyperIntelligence cards, and finally sharing all of those cards with your entire organization. All of this can be done in under an hour. The environment that you will get comes included with a number of sample cards that will allow you quickly the ability to create cards designed for salespeople, for finance people, for HR, and for a number of other lines of business inside your organization. The only thing that you'll need to do is to replace the data within our sample cards with information from your enterprise data layer, and we'll show you exactly how to do that. Now, the product itself, it's available for one low price for all of the HyperIntelligence clients. That's the web, that's mobile, that's Office, and the MicroStrategy HyperIntelligence SDK, all for $10 per month. But the good news is you don't need to make any commitment whatsoever, because you are eligible to receive this environment for 90 days at no cost whatsoever. And you won't need to enter any payment information, and you won't need to sign up for any long-term commitment. So we're incredibly excited about this. And I'm watching right now, I'm watching our back-end systems to see how many people will go out to MicroStrategy.com during this session and start free trials. So please, if you're enjoying your day so far, if you're excited about HyperIntelligence, please go out to MicroStrategy.com and give it a shot. And while we're doing that, I want to talk to my expert panelists a little bit. And I want to start with Nida. Nida has been the product manager for HyperIntelligence since its inception for 2 years. Nida, maybe given your experience, could you share with us some impressions that you've gotten from users, from customers, about how they've incorporated HyperIntelligence into their workflows?
Sure. Thanks, Bill. So one thing I want to say that what I really love about my job is that I get to interact with our customers and users directly. And I get to understand their feedback, directly. And, one of the things that customers have told me personally is that this is a game changer for them in their organization, because it's just changing the way how employees are using data today and how they are making data informed decisions now. So one example I recently got to know is that some of the customers in healthcare, they have said that they've implemented Hyper on their patient tracking system and were able to save around $1 million per patient, which is amazing, right? And then some other customers who've used Hyper on top of their call center applications, which is actually a very popular use case for Hyper, have said that they have decreased their average call duration by over a minute. So that basically improved user satisfaction in their organization. So I think overall, I've got good feedback, though there are some things regarding scalability and performance, which we are already, we are improving daily on it. But right now the performance is fantastic and everyone has great reviews on it. Back to you,
thank
Bill.
you, Nida. And I think this is the key, right? Obviously, we're very excited about the technology here. We're a technology company after all, and we think that this is a transformative and innovative mechanism to deliver enterprise intelligence everywhere throughout 100% of the organization. But obviously what you're focused on is the numbers, right? You're focused on how is this going to save my people time? How is it going to save money? How is it going to increase my customer satisfaction scores? And though that's exactly the purpose of the design thinking workshops that MicroStrategy can assist you with to engage your business users with the specific KPIs and HyperIntelligence designs that are really going to make a difference to your bottom line, right? It's not just about the technology, it's about making people's jobs easier, making them faster and smarter in the moment. And one of the things that I want to show you here is, we did this ourselves, right? We went through this exercise with a number of our departments. And I want to show you quickly what that meant to one of our departments, which is our human resources department. Here is Jody, our chief human resources.
It was probably about 2016. We recognized the need that we needed better insights into, data with our talent in the organization. And it really came from a few different challenges that we were having. And the first one that we all just sort of realized is we've had, we were pulling data from our applicant tracking system, our HR system, our performance management system, payroll, budgeting, you get the point, right? Like we were trying to pull data from our learning system and everything. And because of all of these systems, it wasn't easy to access it. Nobody knew where to go. It had different permission thresholds in every different system. And the systems didn't talk to each other. So if I needed to get information to a manager, it took me 4 systems, 5 systems to go to get the data that I needed. So really our challenge was having way too many data sources in order to get what we need to make a decision on a talent or on a promotion or anything in the organization. So you know, like I said, if you're in a meeting or you're going to a meeting and you pull up the meeting request or the email, you can very easily see. There it is. So it'll pop up. You can look at all of everybody who's attending the meeting, and the card will show up. Okay, great. You know, I'm going to meet with Addie. Will be in this meeting. Or let's say the meeting time doesn't work, or something's just not right with the meeting. I can easily. I can easily send a note to the person. Hey, the time doesn't work, or can we move the meeting? So it's easy because you can get to all of our other resources just through the HyperCard as well. So I can send the person a quick Slack message and just ask them, hey, can we change the meeting? Can we change the meeting time? Is there things that, you know, so it makes it really easy in one place, and you get to see everybody, the HyperCard for everybody in the meeting at that time. But you can turn this card on while you're in the performance management system, in Workday, on your mobile, wherever you are. And as I'm going through their performance review, I've got everything that I need, and I just easily can approve it right here rather than having to go anywhere else to make that decision. And if I want more information, I can go right into the performance manager, to the employee performance review system, and even get additional data if I want more details that aren't on the card. But 90% of the time, everything that's on the card is what I need to make a decision about the person. So it's great to have everything in one place.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Yeah, and this is, a lot of times it's just exactly this simple, right? What's the biggest, we talked about earlier in the day today, what's the biggest impediment? What's the biggest impediment to the goal of intelligence everywhere? It's time, right? It's the time and training and expertise that it takes for an individual who is not an analyst, to swivel chair between multiple applications, right? Or, you know, to pick up the phone and to call somebody. By taking the value that's in the enterprise data layer and injecting it directly into where people are already working, right? The HyperCards bringing in information from multiple systems into a single, easy to use interface and making that available to somebody without any additional training. That's what makes the difference. Whatever your particular KPI is, whether it's customer satisfaction or revenue growth or profit margin, right? It's the ability to make faster and smarter decisions across 100% of the organization that's going to make the most difference there. That's ultimately the value of having an enterprise data layer and an analytics solution. And HyperIntelligence intends and aims to really close every gap there. Now, there are also, I want to have a little bit of fun in today's session. We actually asked our employees to think creatively about the kinds of HyperIntelligence solution that they would use as individuals. And there are a couple of solutions here that I just wanted to take the time to share with you all because they, once again, they show the value of this type of transformative solution. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide here. I'll bring this up. So hopefully that gives you a sense, right? The types of use cases that that can be implemented very, very quickly with HyperIntelligence is limited only by our creativity, only by the collaboration that we have between between our users. We talk a lot about enterprise enablement, right? We talk a lot about business KPIs, but hopefully that gives you a sense about the way that this technology can be incorporated into virtually any experience, any online experience. Once again, without any coding and without any without any real heavy training and system implementation. And just as a note here, I'm looking at our systems and I can see that we've got 10 additional HyperIntelligence trials that have begun as part of our day here at MicroStrategy World. So thanks. I want to introduce somebody now, Mr. Jose Nosadal. Jose also has been involved with HyperIntelligence since its inception. And I wonder, Jose, can you talk to us a little bit? About the architecture for Hyper.Now, what we've done with this new software as a service environment and platform to make the deployment and the card creation process simpler for teams and for individuals.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. I hope that everyone is enjoying World as much as I am. Well, it's been a really fun journey. Like from the inception of HyperIntelligence, one key thing about that was Hyper, right? Being really, really performant and be able to get insights in your business workflows in less than a fraction of a second, right? So what happened with Hyper now? Well, we took that to the next level, right? Hyper was built on the foundation of a really strong MicroStrategy platform, and the consumption experience of it has always been great. Again, you get insights in less than a second. Hyper now takes that to the next level because we are reimagining our architecture and build on top of modern cloud technologies and containerization. Containers are really hot topic right now in the software industry. And even like at this event, we have a bunch of sessions about that and about how we really got into consideration all the aspects of it to minimize cost and to optimize performance, right? So what happened here? So as you were explaining before, Bill, like just with a click of a button, you have an environment up and running and available to you just in minutes, right? And after you have that running, and if you have your data sets ready, then building cards literally only takes minutes. And then for your end users, it's just like hovering over keywords and start enjoying the beautiful cards that you have built. So I guess a lot of modern cloud technologies here built on top of cloud-first technologies and leveraging all the containerization that we have been working on over the past few months.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. And I think that the key here, what's different about this, if folks have spent some time with MicroStrategy, as you said, what we have done with Hyper.Now is we've made it easy for individuals and for teams to do this without the without the context of a large enterprise deployment. Right. This is designed for people to be a little bit experimental. It's designed for people, that may be somewhat further away from the enterprise level decision making and budgets associated with business analytics and intelligence. And part of that is the self-service nature of the deployment. But another part of it is the self-service nature of the activity itself, of the education and of the training. And one of the things I want to draw everybody's attention to, one of the things that you get a benefit of with the Hyper.Now deployment is MicroStrategy's tutorial video library. So what we've done, what we've made available to you on microstrategy.com are detailed tutorial videos that will take you through every single step of the process, right? Whether it is connecting to your enterprise data layer, using MicroStrategy Workstation, sharing HyperIntelligence cards with your team members through the web, through mobile, through Outlook, and even adding additional administrator privileges if you want to create options for others on your team to author HyperIntelligence cards and administer this capability. And then from there, it allows you to grow, right? It allows you to sort of to begin with your first couple of use cases and work with MicroStrategy in order to make sure that you're getting the maximum value out of it over time, right? So, and we talked about all the different ways that we help you to do that. We talked about our Expert Now function, which allows you in a single click to talk face-to-face with a MicroStrategy expert to help you through any issues that you might be having. We talked about the notion of our design thinking workshops, which our sales engineers and support folks are happy to work with you directly to brainstorm how to think about hyperintelligence in context of your organization. And in general, like I said, what we want for people to try this, because what constantly amazes us is the creativity of our customers, the creativity of the people that get their hands on this type of technology. So next, I want to show you one more use case. And this I want to talk a little bit about sales, because if there's any department in the company that relies upon quick decision making, information necessary from multiple sources and multiple systems, all needed in the moment, where decisions really have real cost and real impact right there in the moment, it's sales. So we've done a lot of work in thinking through how can we be of service to account folks and sales leadership in terms of optimizing the time and decision making for sales. So let's take a look and listen to Mr. Rob Davis.
So let's look at a couple of these things in action just quickly. So here is a Salesforce screen, and I just want to give you a flavor of what HyperIntelligence could look like in a Salesforce implementation. So here we have a product company just selling automotive parts. When you deploy the HyperIntelligence cards in the add-in in the browser, you see we have cards for employees, opportunities, quotes, products, and then my Salesforce becomes live. I can hover over an opportunity, see the size of the opportunity. I can hover over products and see what the maximum discount, the suggested markup is for those products. So it gives you an idea of the power here, because while all of the information about that opportunity might be in Salesforce already, this product information is coming from the inventory system. And the pricing and the max discount is probably coming as a supply and demand calculation from artificial intelligence from inventory. So that's something I never would have known before. And it's a way for me to position an opportunity for a customer saying, oh, you can get a 12% discount this week that you couldn't get last week because we have a surplus of a certain kind of product. So again, it gives you that little bit extra information that lets you have a more effective call with the customer and give them yet another reason to buy. And this is interesting because I've had a number of sales contacts that are using HyperIntelligence in this unique way. You notice there's on this contact of the customer, there's Ashley has 2 daughters, Susan and Sarah. That's probably not something you record in your corporate systems about a particular sales contact or someone you're working with at an account. However, it is something you as an account manager could have in an Excel file on your desktop about each one of your main contacts. And by merging that data, which you can do with HyperIntelligence with the corporate data in a single card, you can get that little teaser about something personal to talk to your account with as well in the HyperCard when you're looking at Salesforce. So you have that contact information. And again, talking about team members, here I have the case owner that owns the current support cases with that customer. I can see their employee review. I can see things about whether I've got the right person. Now let's go back again here to the account card. So if we look at this in a bit more detail, you can see the opportunity I'm chasing with this company is becoming their single vendor for brake pads. So I want to shut everyone else out of the market and become their single vendor for brake pads. I know who my key contact is, and I've just got a new line of brake pads in actually that we believe is superior to what they're using today, and we should be able to sell this to them effectively. Now, based on all of that information, customer hasn't bought in a while, we have a new product line, we think there's a big potential standardization opportunity. The sales management has an algorithm that tells me my next best action is to give that customer a new brake pad demo. So we want to get someone out there, show them how the new brake pads work, show them that they're very resistant, show them that they are 5 times cheaper than what they were using before. So previously I would have had to take this information, log into Marketo or log into another system, find my customer contact again in that system and sign them up for this campaign. But with HyperIntelligence and the triggers and the actions that Kevin was talking about, I can see my next action is the new brake pad demo campaign, and I can take the next action right there from the HyperCard. And when I do that and go ahead and click on that next action, I'm taken to the Marketo screen that is fed automatically with the contact for that customer, and I can add them then to that campaign, thus closing them.
So hopefully that gives you a sense of, again, the power of the application. What we've done there is we've taken information from dozens of systems, right? From inventory, from finance, from human resources, from Salesforce, and even potentially from an individual rep's private files. And we've made it all available in a single screen, in a single Salesforce interface, without having to make changes to that Salesforce system at all. What HyperIntelligence does, as a reminder, is it sits right over top of those applications. There's no integration required. And it allows you to customize your view. What information is it that you really need to see without wanting to swivel chair away from your primary application and without having to call someone else to help you out, right? And I see there's a question here in the chat. How do we control this? If we do have these multiple hypercards that are active and available for us, how do we control it? How do we keep it from being confusing? Well, the good news is that each individual user can turn on and off cards at their discretion, right? So each individual user has the power to decide, this is the information that I really need on this particular site and for this particular purpose. So really, there's a ton of flexibility at the level, not only for the authors, but the individual users themselves. Nikki and Greg, I want to ask you guys a question. We talk a lot about how HyperIntelligence is different from your traditional business intelligence application, dashboards and dossiers and so on. How has that manifested for you all in working with customers? What's the process like in a way that distinguishes it from other things that you've worked on?
Yeah, I can start. So yeah, this is a great question, Bill. Now, Gartner did a study, and they estimated that about 30% of the users in an enterprise use business intelligence, BI, right? So you're talking about we're talking about a very small user base, and keep in mind that people, BI users, whether they are developers or consumers, need to be trained, right, respectively, so they can do their day-to-day job. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about hypercards, right? Hypercards reach 100% of the user community because they follow them on the day-to-day work, right? So as a user, what do I do in the morning? I probably look at my email, I go to a browser, I open my Excel. Hypercards are there, right? For me, I can hover over and I can see all the information just by simply, as I said before, hovering over. I don't even have to click. So this is all seamless to the end user. They don't need to be trained. No training whatsoever, right? It's very intuitive. And I think that's the major distinction between hypercards versus traditional BI users.
I can also add that when we do projects for HyperIntelligence, we frequently work with lines of business for them, not necessarily only with IT. Because to develop cubes, to develop the data sources, to develop the cards, you really don't have to be a BI expert. You don't have to know how to build dashboards. You probably should know something about SQL, but that's about it. If you're familiar with your data, you can build the cards and you can deploy them if the IT gives you permission to do something like this. So it's a little different paradigm as far as deployment and rollout of the cards as well.
Great, thanks to you both. I'm looking here, we've got 2 additional Hyper.Now trials that have signed up just since you all started talking. So that's great. We're starting to come to the end of our presentation here, and I want to talk a little bit about something that I actually started with early in the day, which is, why is MicroStrategy in this business? Why is MicroStrategy why are we in the business of intelligence everywhere? And I think it's fair to say that that there's never really been a more important time for us to be able to separate fact from speculation and intuition from informed insights. And this capability and the ability to do it for everyone, the ability to do it for people that are not experts in data, because most people aren't. Right, it not only helps us out in business, it helps us in our personal and our social lives as well. It makes the world a more connected and livable place. And to that end, I want to show you one more HyperIntelligence use case in the arena of healthcare to give you a sense of what it is that we
Let's look at
mean.
a couple
So
of
bear
these
with
things
me here. We'll go ahead and begin this presently.
Hospitals are producing so much data that it is extremely difficult to provide the analytics of it. Meanwhile, some doctors in the West can spend up to twice as many hours on medical paperwork than with their patients. In the years ahead, there should be a solution to save the time for the doctors, allowing them to concentrate on people. Data is so critical for improving our understanding of disease and illness. The more we understand, the better the chances of preventing, diagnosing and curing. But currently, only about 5% of medical data is used effectively. So, how HyperIntelligence will transform the future of healthcare? HyperIntelligence was introduced by MicroStrategy in 2019. After creating cards in MicroStrategy Workstation, users can consume the data in web browser, mobile device, and Microsoft Outlook. HyperIntelligence can be easily integrated with any patient management website. Here is the patient management page for Dr. Darren. On the right side is the patient list. Just hovering on their names, all related information the doctor needs to know is listed here. The basic information, such as photo, gender, age, and the medical conditions, whether to have diabetes or heart disease. And another section for the characteristic symptoms of COVID-19. The complexity and rise of data in healthcare means that artificial intelligence will increasingly be applied within the field. Once the data is exported to MicroStrategy, HyperIntelligence can show the returned results, such as prediction and suggested action. Now let's see how powerful the HyperCards can be. The probability of COVID-19 is displayed for each patient. Moreover, links are provided for the doctors if they need more detailed information. For instance, to check the lung scan results and images. The most amazing thing is that HyperCards can be integrated in the daily work seamlessly. The doctor receives a meeting request to discuss the patient. No need to go to another place to look for the patient information, the data comes to the doctor. In the situations where mobility is more appreciated, just open the Hyper app and find the information effortlessly. HyperIntelligence makes the experience smarter and faster. For the first time, you don't have to go looking for insights. They come to you.
Hopefully that gives you a sense of why it is we're so excited about HyperIntelligence, particularly all the new features and functionality that are available in MicroStrategy 2021, and seeing how our customers are using it, whether it's in the healthcare field or banking and finance or retail. There's always some mechanism to make your workforce smarter and faster and serve your customers better. And we just are thrilled that we've been able to have the opportunity over the last few hours to speak with you about this technology and what it means to us and where we think that it's going in the future. I want to get to some Q&A here. So what I'll do is I'll just unshare my screen. And once again, thank all my panelists. And I'm just going to go ahead and read a couple of questions here from the chat. We have one question, and this I think comes from a MicroStrategist. Of the panel, which is your favorite new bit of your favorite HyperIntelligence client? HyperWeb, HyperOffice, HyperMobile, or the new Hyper SDK, or all of it put together in Hyper.Now? Let's see, Jose, I'll pick on you first.
Without a doubt, SDK. I just think that it opens the door to a lot more scenarios, and the interest that we've seen from customers has been impressive. So I'm pretty excited about that. Maybe it's because it's the latest product that we're releasing as part of the HyperIntelligence family. I like them all, but if I had to pick one, it would be the SDK.
Great. Anybody else want to jump in on
Was
that?
it a feature or a customer? The question asked for a particular feature or a particular customer use case?
Take either one, Nikki.
I'll take a feature, and maybe I'll talk about a customer next. So my favorite feature is the Hypervision, because it highlights, with thresholding where you need to focus, right? So if you have a large list of items, whether you're a retailer and you have, SKUs, or, whether you're an insurance person, you have a lot of policy numbers, it kind of allows you to focus on where you need to pay attention. So anything that's highlighted in red, that's where I need to spend most of my time. So I would say Hypervision is my favorite feature of 2021.
Hey, there's another question in the chat here. There's a question that says, are there any other licenses that are required when building and sharing HyperCards for business users? And the answer to that is no. As we mentioned at the beginning, if you go out to MicroStrategy.com right now, click on HyperIntelligence and select that free trial. If you become a customer of Hyper.Now, there are no additional licenses that are required. You will get all 4 HyperIntelligence clients, web, mobile, Outlook, and the SDK, just as part of one per user price. And there's no additional license dependencies that are required in order to make that happen. And as I mentioned, you can start it free for 90 days without having to make any long-term commitments or providing us with any additional payment information. So you've got very little to lose. And as I'm looking here, I can see that 3 more individuals have signed up for Hyper.Now trial since the last time I noted. So let's see if there's any additional questions here. Yeah, here's one. So Ken and Victor, maybe you can help us with this one. Can HyperCards in the browser only be visible to certain users in the organization? Can I control which users within my enterprise have access to particular HyperIntelligence cards that I create?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like we mentioned in a few other sessions, that whenever you're looking at MicroStrategy, right, we always try to bring in how you can do security and governance in a way. And so that is not different with HyperIntelligence, right? You can choose who is going to have access to specific cards, to levels of information, all that in depending on the person's login, right? So yeah, it is possible. It's a very exciting feature as well.
That's terrific. Thank you. I think that brings us to the end of the Q&A that we've got here today, and unfortunately, we're just about out of time. I want to mention again, we're only getting started with MicroStrategy World. For those of you in the Americas, day 2 is a packed day. We will begin with our CTO keynote, where Tim Lang will tell you about the future of our industry from MicroStrategy's perspective and what we're doing from an innovation point of view to meet it. And then we have a whole series of additional sessions live with our product and technology experts that'll walk through every aspect of the system, including our roadmaps for 2022 and beyond. So with that, let me thank my expert panel once again. It's been a terrific afternoon. I want to thank everybody that's joined us. And I'm looking here at the chat. Once again, we've got 5 continents represented in today's session. This has been a lot of ways a first for us at MicroStrategy in this virtual event. And it's been a terrific afternoon for us, and we hope that you all had a good time, and we'll see you tomorrow.